Okay, so brief update. You probably saw a couple days ago me post 4.5 cups of water in a 2-quart bowl, and it was to get you ready for this guy here. This is our elderberry syrup. As you know, we're cold weather. We're about to hit cold weather season. I don't care where you are, the bugs will be out. COVID is already on the rise, and we just wanted to create this syrup as something that will help you get through the difficult season that's ahead and help you feel better throughout the process. Now, a lot of you come into the apothecary and you always ask, when you're looking at our tinctures or our salves or our ointments or buying our teas, what is this good for? What is that good for? Think of this as a clean version of NyQuil. Now, disclaimer, when you get NyQuil on the box and the bottle, you will see it says temporary relief only. And in another 4 to 6 hours, it expects you to take another dose of that drug. Now, it is a drug, and it's pumped with a lot of gunk. I'm guilty. I've used it before too, before I became on this clean green path. And it does have alcohol in it as well. So this here does not. These are all herbs. And just to give you a synopsis now, don't come in my inbox or in DMing me saying, oh, you only need an elderberry to make an elderberry syrup. You're right. You could make this with just elderberry. But I could sell you 8 products to take care of 8 things, or I could make a quality product to take care of a amount of things to make you feel better. And I'm using the word nurturing. Even in our slogan, we say we nurture your mind, body, soul, and spirit. FDA will not allow me to say I'm healing you, and I don't want that claim either. But if you take the NyQuil, you're going to get that 4 to 6 hour relief, and then you're going to feel better. But guess what? You got to take another dose. If you've ever taken it, you notice after about 4 to 6 hours, within that time frame, you start to feel groggy again. You feel your eyes achy again. Your glands get sore again. Then you need another dosage. The number one thing you can do, let's put this aside, put NyQuil aside, is get proper rest, take in proper nutrients, take in the right amount of fluids, drink your plenty water. Okay, you need to do that before you do anything, before you add this, before you do NyQuil, before you do. Your body needs to reboot, and to do that, you need to rest, get the proper nutrients, and get the right amount of fluids. Now, whenever I feel a little icky, I don't just add a syrup or a tincture or take a great tea that's going to help me nurture me back to wellness. What I do is I get proper rest. And in addition to that, I also cook healthy. So maybe I was going to make a chili dish. Then I might switch to making, a soup where I'm going to add a lot of vitamin C vegetables. So I also cook so that I can get the nutrients to get better, then get the proper rest and sleep and take in the right amount of fluids and water intake so that my body can reboot. The key is to reboot. No matter how much tea you drink in the world, no matter what syrup you drink it or take, or what drug, over-the-counter drug you take, if you're not allowing yourself proper rest, you're not going to get better, or you will get better, but it'll take a lot longer. This, on the other hand, another difference between this and the NyQuil will give you a quick release because that drug is going to infuse itself into your body and start doing the things that drugs do and give you a quick response. This is herbs. These are herbs. Okay, so it's not going to work in 20 to 30 minutes, but after an hour to 2 hours, what it's going to do is start attacking the inflammation, attacking the virus. It's going to attack the things that NyQuil is not doing. NyQuil is going to neutralize things, and the drugs is going to give you this sensory to your brain that everything is okay. And it's going to be fighting some mucus and things like that, but only on a temporary basis. It just sedates it. This is working to get rid of it. So I'm on this holistic path with taking plant-based things and homesteading and doing all these natural things because I told my son I want to live to be 100 or 110 or 125 now. The longest living person in my family was my great-grandmother, and she lived to be 93. And I believe she would have lived a little bit longer if she'd had air conditioning. She actually passed of a heat stroke. So I want to try to live as long as I possibly can. In this next chapter of my life, I want to make sure that I'm doing whatever I can to control that. There's some things out of my control. And I also want to say this. If you are somebody that takes high blood pressure medicine, or you need to, there is nothing wrong with taking conventional over-the-counter medicine that your doctor prescribes you. I don't want you to think that I'm against anyone having to take meds. You have to know when to partner with meds and when to take herbal medicinal alternative remedies. Okay, so you need to make that choice, but I want to make sure that I let everybody know I'm not saying don't take your meds or I'm anti-medicine. I'm not. I am just on a holistic path, and I want to share. I've been very transparent about converting as many people as I can into a clean, green lifestyle, because I really think that is just the wave of the future. Homesteading and things of that nature is something that I am grossly into. I've even been foraging, like going to different parts of Illinois and even Chicago and picking herbs and botanicals, things right from nature. And there are a lot of things that are just free. So I'm really into that spot, and I can't wait to have my home built so I can just have this great big old stupid garden with everything back there. That's another video though. So without further ado, let's get into this. You get the 3.2 ounces of the mix, which is 10 very simple ingredients. We have elderberry, of course, in here. That's about 55% of the mix. And we have rosehip, ginger root, cinnamon root, echinacea powder, and echinacea root. Now, echinacea is excellent for cold and flu. It's great. It's a great natural expectorant. We also have licorice root and powder. We have mullein. Mullein is great for the lungs and clearing respiratory and getting inflammation gone. Another great expectorant and just getting great healthy lungs. Turmeric. Turmeric is great anti-inflammatory properties. And juniper berry. That's what's in this mix. Now, obviously, again, I could have just had elderberry, but I want to make sure we're not just boosting your immune. I want to make sure we cover the lung. I'm an asthmatic, so I'm always thinking of ways to keep the airwaves open and making sure, even my cold and flu, all of my vitamin C's, I include something in each of those teas to make sure we're not just boosting your immune, but we're keeping that airway as clean as possible and as healthy as it possibly can. And if you don't know, most asthmatics become asthmatics because the lungs become bordered with inflammation, and what happens is that inflammation closes and closes and closes, and then there's no passage for the air to get through, and that's what makes us wheeze. Most of my teas, the majority of my teas are made with things that keep that inflammation at bay so that the airway stays open so that you can breathe. So I always incorporate something like that in every tea, especially if it's an immune boosting tea, and this is no different. It's a very simple process, guys. You just take the 3.2 ounces of herb mix. You put it, this bag comes with it. Okay, it's very well made. Look at that. Okay, you get a 5x8 bag with it that comes in the kit. You just literally take this. I'm going to show you the video right after this. This goes in the bag. The bag goes in the pot of 4.5 cups of water. You boil it down, bring it to a vigorous boil, and you let that sit for 5 to 10 minutes. Let it cool down a little bit, and then you just squeeze your pouch out, and then you take your tea brew and you pour it in a cup or a jar that will. Airtight container that will allow you to keep it. Now this is, it said it was a 34 ounce container, but this is 38 ounces in here. This is 34 ounces. Okay, now I brewed 32 ounces of the water. 4.5 cups is 32 ounces. So it filled it up to here. The tea asks that you put in anywhere from 4 to 8 tablespoons of raw honey. Now I used a full cup of raw honey. I wanted mine to be a little bit on the sweeter side, and let me tell you why. I used a lot of roots in this formula, and for those of you that forage or are herbalists, you know the flower has different benefits. The stem, the leaf, the root, they all have different benefits and they have different properties, and the same plant, but each one of those things can deliver different properties and benefits. So I do have the cinnamon root in here, and I have ginger root in here and licorice root, and they are very stringent. I won't say bitter because they aren't bitter, but it's just a very, very, very fine taste. And even the juniper berry, it's a very, very, not even piney. They're just very stringent taste buds. They just hit your palate differently than if you were to just have ginger, which is a little bit on the spicy side normally anyways, but we did use a lot of roots in this because of the properties that they possess. And we only chose those ingredients because they are all antiviral, antibiotic, anti-inflammatory, and great antioxidant. Even the honey has great antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and antibiotic properties. So that was chosen for, I mean, you probably could sweeten it with, I guess, sugar. I don't advise that, but kind of counteracts the process. But I chose honey, or you could use molasses as well, a natural molasses that's not treated with a lot of gunk in it. I chose the honey because of it lends itself to the same properties of the herbs and the roots that I used to go in this. And it gave it a little thicker. The more you use, the thicker. Now, the more this gels, you sit it in the fridge, it's going to be really, really thin because it'll be hot. You set it in your fridge, it stays in your fridge, and it should keep in your fridge anywhere from 12 to 24 months. That is a long time. And so you want to make sure that you keep this refrigerated, okay? But this is a lot of power, guys. This one I'm taking home. I got to change the labels. I always recycle my glassware. And I think I got this guy, like I said, from Hobby Lobby. I believe I got this from Hobby Lobby. And it wasn't terribly expensive. I usually buy from them when they have their glassware 50% off. So it was relatively inexpensive. And I love that it has a handle. I can just pour it out in a smaller valve if I want to, or smaller cup, or it dispenses well. I have a dropper at home. I can use that as well. You just pour it into something, get your spoons, or take the spoonfuls right from it. But the dosage is on the back. So I do have, I don't know if that's clear to you, the dosage is on the back. I do start this dosage at 2 years of age. I know a lot of people that make similar products started at 1 year of age. I feel comfortable starting at 2 years of age. So for 2 to 4 years, it's 1 to 2 teaspoons twice a day, up to twice a day. And for 5 years to adults, it is 1 to 2 tablespoons 2 to 3 times a day. Now, it is all herbal. It is not a drug. If you take, as an adult, 4 tablespoons, it won't be the end of the world. As a kid, 2 to 4. If you give them 3 teaspoons, it won't be the end of the world, especially if it's someone that's really not feeling well. It's only going to make them get better. You know, I wouldn't say just sit here and drink the whole thing. Now, don't do any of that. Really stick to as close to the dosage as you possibly can. And the reason I don't have, my son said, well, why didn't you include 1-year-olds? And it's because, and most of you moms out there know, children are still building antibodies in their little bitty bodies up until 2 years of age. That's why most drug companies will only put start dosage at 2, because that child hasn't built all their antibodies yet. And so I don't feel comfortable saying give this to anyone under 2. Use your own discretion. It is for 2. You want to trust it, knock yourselves out. I don't recommend it. I think you should start at 2. And if you have a child under 2, you need to seek your regular care physician to see how to treat that child. Also, before you even take this, you want to make sure you seek, consultation from your regular care. Anytime you add any vitamin supplement or any natural remedy to your regular care routine, you want to seek your regular care physician to make sure it is okay, especially if you already have existing ailments, okay? So without further ado, video's up next. I hope you love this. You can buy this from us in the shop. We'll have the regular formula in 2 to 4 ounces available, or you can buy the kit. You can buy the kit, guys. It's very simple. Watch the video to make all of this yourself, and this will last you 12 to 24 months, depending on how many people are in your household and how much you use it. This is a lot of power, and it'll get you through the cold and flu season ahead, this wave of COVID that's coming out. And, if you're just icky, if you're one of those people like me that spend a lot of time running and think you're the Energizer Bunny, this is great when you feel that little ickiness or that tiredness, and it's a great boost of energy. It helps to renew the immune system. So, without further ado, video's up next. Thank you for watching. Stay well. You want to just basically take your 5x8 pouch, place it inside the jar, just like so. Get a nice little pocket in there. Take your 3.25 ounces of herb, pour them inside that bag. Pop the corners, get all your goodness out, discard that. Pull out the pouch and tie the satchel. You see it's very well made. And you just want to secure it so that none of your herbs seek out while you're boiling it into the 4.5 cups of water. I'm pouring my 4.5 cups of water into this little tin. I have some of these for tinctures and salves and teas like this, as well as some for candles. You don't want to cross-contaminate, so make sure it's just for food. But look at that. It's already at a vigorous boil. You're going to bring it to, when you see it at this vigorous boil, that nice rich color, it's ready to take off the burner. So we're going to cut off our burner, and we're going to take that hot pouch. It's probably, I didn't let it cool as much as it should have, but I'm squeezing out all the goodness. You probably see some steam there. Get all of that excess juice out of there. You want all your goodness into the tin or a container that you're using. And I'm going to discard this once it's done. Yeah, just get all of it out of there. Look at that. Okay, there you go. Look at that goodness. I'm going to pour it in a 34-ounce jar. Make sure the jar is 34 to 36 ounces to hold all of the 32 ounces of water tea that you made with the water, plus room for adding the honey. This is a full cup, which is 8 ounces. The recipe calls for 2 to 4, but I added a full 8 for thickness. Cap this off, keep it in the fridge 18 to 24 months, and you're good to go.